Hey everyone, this is Rob.
And Michelle.
And welcome to Bunebape, your weekly podcast on everything you need to know about old school RuneScape.
Meet Mer.
Alright, so this week up on the docket, of course, as always, we're going to be starting off with what we have been up to this week.
And last week.
We
missed last week because I got my wisdom tooth out.
Yeah. She was definitely not ready to to do the podcast. So we'll be going over kind of mostly everything. So we are going to be, after our updates, going to be talking a little very brief amount about Deadman Armageddon that was announced, mostly because I know we are going to talk about it again. It doesn't actually
last year we talked about it like 7 times.
It doesn't actually come out for over a month and a half, like 2 months. So it's like July 21st or something like that. So there's a lot of time. So we're going to put that off until maybe next week or whenever they bring it up again, which I'm sure will happen.
Also, we just have a lot to go over anyway without that.
Yeah. And then we'll go over the minigame update, which actually happened last week. So these are some of the changes to like Volcano, Mudload Mine and stuff. So we'll go over that. And then there was actually a couple more updates this week as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to be while Guthix Sleeps rewards, specifically the rewards, and then also the project Rebalance. So we have a ton to talk about. So
that's the combat changes. And then last week we got the skilling.
Yeah.
We missed a lot. The 2 weeks that the 1 week we don't record, like a lot actually happened.
Yeah. So we have a ton to go over, and I think the Project Rebalance stuff will kind of be quick because if you have been listening or keeping up, it's kind of more of the same stuff, but just actually in the game now. Mm-hmm. And then we'll be ending off with our Q&A as per usual.
Yeah.
So hopefully, hopefully we have questions. I actually haven't looked.
We have like a couple.
Yeah, but if you want to participate or ask us any questions, feel free to ask us on any of our socials, or we do have a discord.gg/Bunebape, and we have a questions channel there where you can ask them, or really just anywhere else.
Yeah.
But before we get into any of that cool stuff, Michelle, how's it going on, you rat?
It's going well. I got my wisdom teeth out last week, and I won't talk too long about it, but I was really messed up, and my teeth still kind of hurt sometimes, and I actually just accidentally made one of the wounds start bleeding right before we start recording. So that's cool, but it's healing, which is nice. I also started my in real life job this week. My first day was yesterday. It did not go super well because I wasn't feeling great, but I'm trying to remain optimistic for the rest of my training. And yeah, in game, I actually got a couple levels. I got 88 construction. Construction is my lowest level. It's my only skill that is not 90. I almost said 99. I'm not even close to max. I still have like 50 levels to go. But so I got 88 construction, and I also got 95 hunter. I think I got that during Squishy's bingo the other week.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or maybe right after. I did Squishy's bingo. I don't remember if I talked about it. We did not win. But I have another opportunity because tonight, actually, I'm in another bingo. Tina's bingo this time. I'm on the Flaming Falador Femboys team.
Of course.
Yeah. Unfortunate timing, though, since I am starting to work. It's starting at like 9, and I'm going to go to sleep at like 10. So I'm not going to have much time to play tonight, but I plan on going hard this weekend, hopefully. As far as drops go, I got one singular drop this entire 2-week period. It was an Avernic, but it was in my name, and it was a 13 mil split. I hadn't gotten a purple in like 80 KC, actually. I had to go and watch back old shorts footage to see when exactly I had that. So happy to have broken my dry streak. It is kind of funny that it took that many KC, and that I've gotten 5 Avernics. It's kind of weird. But I haven't been making money. I've been wasting money, though.
Yeah, because you've been at Scurries like this whole time.
I've been doing so much freaking Scurries the past few weeks. I'm at 9,400 and something KC. Last time I logged out is 9,481 KC. I am rank 44. Yeah, I'm rank 44. 9,487. So rank 44, still no pet. I've hit 3 times the drop rate. I've had like a 95.5% chance of getting more than 0 drops, but we keep going until I'm out of gold. I actually went from over 100 mil to now I have 19 mil. So we're actually not going to keep going much longer, to be honest, unless I get some money and then I can go back. I've just been AFK barraging it like constantly.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually just checked. We'll kind of go over this today, but you're using the Virtus robes as well as the Elidnus ward, and there's kind of discussion going on currently of whether or not the Elidnus ward is even as good as the Malediction ward now.
Yeah, the Elidnus ward didn't get buffed, but the Malediction one did.
Yeah.
I actually was reading the notes today because I forgot the combat thing was happening today. And I was like, oh my god, did the ward get better? And I was like, wait, no. I did notice I died more times today, but my average KC per hour is 31, and usually it's actually 29.
Yeah.
But I've only gotten 6 KC, so
yeah.
I'll let you guys know more towards the end of the episode if I remember.
Your Virtus robe straight up did get a buff, but I mean, I guess the occult got a nerf, so
exactly.
I was like, I don't know.
We'll see. I did die a couple times earlier, though.
Yeah.
And usually I don't die that much.
Your Seer's Ring got a buff, but I think that's it. The Ancient Scepter didn't get a buff.
Well, it should be less overall.
It should be. No, because Augury got buffed. Oh, yeah.
I'm not using
Augury. Yeah. So, yeah, overall it should be less.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know why I have more KC per hour right now, but whatever.
Yeah, probably just luck.
Yeah, and obviously there's a tiny part of me hoping I'm going to get Scurious while we are recording this, so I have my live reaction, but, God, I'm so tired of seeing this animation. That's my life right now, and I'm very scared that I messed up my wisdom tooth whenever I poked it, so if I seem distracted, it's because I'm thinking about that. I was zoning out for a second thinking like, Anyway, how are you?
Nice.
You've actually been doing a lot. Oh, other than that, I've been obsessively playing Stardew. I put in like 60 hours last week. I wasn't doing anything when I was recovering. Like, nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was obsessively playing.
That's cool. But yeah, I actually have been playing a little bit of RuneScape and on my GIM.
Not the hardcore.
No, not the hardcore. But yeah, another... someone else in the group is actually also playing, so that's kind of cool.
Shout out Fresco.
Yeah, but I've done a few quests, like I don't know. I've done a bunch of stuff.
You did all the Varlamore ones. Oh, you did that the other week.
Yeah, like I did the Varlamore ones. I did Perilous Moons a little bit. I was like grinding some prayer, and I got a bunch of like I don't know. I mean, it's an early account, so I kind of got like a little bit of everything, I guess. But like for the most part. I guess like more notable stuff is like I finished Desert Treasure 1.
That's actually a pretty big one.
I think I already had the zombie axe, but I like...
Just again, we'll say how dry you went on that.
Yeah, but I also... one thing that's cool is I was actually doing it in preparation for this week is I unlocked the Mage Book, which is I think one of the best offhands, certainly the best offhand early because now it has plus 2% damage instead of 0. So... Yeah. Pretty strong.
And you were at Mage Training Arena for a little bit.
Yeah, it was. I got 7 levels at Mage Training Arena because I got the Bones to Peaches and I got the Mage Book, which I actually never even did on my main because that sucks. So
yeah, it's not as bad maybe now.
It's definitely twice as fast as it was, like literally twice as fast as it was. But it still sucks because it's just not good content.
It's still Mage Training Arena.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who thinks. Okay. This actually also makes me wonder, dude, because I've been doing Perilous Moons. Whoever invented the Blood Moon boss
so negative.
Is a terrible boss inventor. Like, you are just not good at creating mechanics that are fun or engaging.
I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. Obviously, I have better gear, though. But...
Yeah, you literally have max gear and max level.
But I think you're also a little bit dramatic about it.
You're like, oh, Old Boar is pretty good. I don't know. Like what? But yeah, anyways.
He was getting upset over Perilous Moons though.
Yeah, it's not.
He's like, this sucks.
It's not a good boss. The mechanics are like interesting. The flinching mechanics are interesting, but the fact that there's no benefit to you even doing that well besides it not sucking is like weird.
We were talking about Perilous Moons, and one thing that actually kind of annoys me, because I did a lot of Perilous Moons during Bingo, was that all the bosses, except for Eclipse is only one, but all their specials are just time wasters. You can't do any damage during them.
Yeah.
Which is kind of frustrating.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But it's not the best made boss, that's for sure. But I guess it's like Also, I think it's kind of really like dumb and also kind of counterintuitive how expensive it is to repair the armor pieces that you get from the boss.
Yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know, it's like Barrows in that the armor pieces degrade. But instead of like Barrows where the armor pieces cost 300k, they cost 1.5 million GP per piece, so 4.5 million for a whole set.
I think whenever that first happened, I was like, oh, it's not bad. But now that you're like a mid game iron trying to go for it, it's like, oh, that's pretty expensive, isn't
Yeah, I would definitely
it?
still say I'm early game, but um,
True.
yeah. So I guess, anyways, I'm working on unlocking Barrows because I'd rather go to Barrows than I would go to Perilous Moons. So
Hmm.
unfortunate, but that is the reality. I'm really close to finishing Mauritania Heart Diaries though, which is really cool. I just need 70 prayer. That's literally the only thing I don't have.
You did get Spoon to drop.
Oh yeah, I did get the scepter,
The Warp
the warp
Scepter.
scepter. I got it on 5 KC, and the drop rate is 1 out of 320.
That was so lucky. After your zombie axe going almost 3 times the drop rate.
Yeah, so that was definitely nice. You know, small wins, I guess.
Yeah, it was so funny. He got that, and I was like, "Oh, are you gonna get one for Alfresco too?" And he's like, "No," and
Nope,
just left.
I don't have the time or the supplies to do that. And also, Alfresco is like pretty far ahead of me, so
So that's what they get.
no, it's just like I don't. They, if they want it, they have time to get it. And
I
they
think
they
they
did,
did.
yeah, and they got it pretty early. I think it was 200 KC.
No, they went a little dry on it, I thought. I don't know.
Nope, not at all. It was 1 out of 200, or they got it at 200. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Besides that, I didn't really do any other bosses or anything like that. Just kind of progressed the account a little bit throughout the weekend on a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah,
And
you're mostly focused on prayer this weekend, I feel like. We're like
well,
looking at quests that reward prayer. You have
yeah,
Swan Song.
I finished focusing on prayer and stuff like that, so I can
Mm-hmm.
get to 70. But that's still gonna take kind of a long time. But
Hey, do you want to
whatever.
say how you're doing it?
I mean, it's just the same way every Iron Man does it is just by getting a bunch of dragon bones and then running to the Chaos Altar.
Well, I don't know if the methods have changed.
No, I looked into it, and apparently that is like the method that
Mm.
everyone does to 70, and then they just don't train it ever again.
Oh, cool. But you're gonna save the hides for crafting too, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna save the hides for crafting. I looked into the experience, and it's I'd be banking like 300,000 crafting experience by doing that. So if I'm already at the dragons, I might as well
Yeah.
keep on to the blue D hide.
True.
So yeah, I'm gonna do that for I don't know, kind of whenever I have downtime. I'm not really focusing on it because it's kind of a long grind. I need to kill 1,400 of them. So
Ew.
yeah, kind of unfortunate, but that is it. We can move on to the other stuff because we actually do have a lot to talk about,
Hmm.
and it's kind of cool because it is pertaining to like a lot of things because it is going to be the project rebalance stuff.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
we can start in the correct order, and we'll start with the mini game project rebalance.
should we start with the Deadman though?
I guess so. I mean, like I said, we're gonna briefly
I'm gonna
talk
have you
about
go
it.
over it because I didn't read the concern things yet. I did want to say though, while you look over this real quick, I forgot to say I'm changing my streaming schedule a little bit. By the way, because I'm working, at least while I get used to it, my streams are now only going to be like 2 hours a night, and sometimes they'll start 7 p.m. instead of 8 Pacific Standard. And I'm not going to stream on Wednesdays just so I can make sure that the podcast is like edited and done. Because usually Thursday, like sometimes it won't be published till like 3 a.m. on technically Friday.
Yeah,
So hopefully they'll be out on actual Thursday. We'll see.
yeah. Besides that, though, like I said, we're really not going to talk about Deadman. It's going to be extremely brief and like just a couple points, such as the number one, and this is like one of the biggest concerns that I saw whenever this did come out on the subreddit and stuff like that, is they were originally teasing some of the items that you'll be able to purchase with points after Deadman is over
Like ornament kits.
was going to be ornament kits, kind of along the lines of like a Fang ornament kit that you get from 500 TOA. But it was going to be for very high end items. So it was going to be for items like the Shadow, the Scythe, and D-Claws, and
And TiVo.
and the T-Bow and stuff like that. And they were going to be tradable. So that
Yeah.
was like kind of that last part was kind of the part that a lot of people didn't like is that they were going to be tradable.
It kind of defeats the purpose of going for like the blood scythe and the holy scythe.
Yeah.
If you could just buy it.
Yeah, it really removed the prestige of it, and a lot of people felt that way, so they're going to remove that.
Yeah. I love ornament kits though, like just not for the biggest mega rare weapons in the game, maybe.
Yeah. Besides that, though, for anyone that isn't sure what Deadman Armageddon is going to be like, it's essentially just a run back of Deadman Apocalypse. And if you weren't around for that, essentially every 8 hours there is going to be a
breaches.
A spawn of random bosses and mobs. That's kind of central. So everyone's going to be there fighting bosses and mobs and each other at the same time, and they can drop really good items such as like a T-bow, or it's like a corrupted T-bow, so it's not as good. But
I think this time they're going to be as good.
Yeah, I don't think so, but maybe.
Will you explain? I'm going to scroll.
Okay. But yeah, so that is really it. It's the same exact as last year. It is going to have some tweaks and quality of life stuff, but for the most part, it is going to be the same. A bigger prize pool this time around. So for anyone that remembered last year, the biggest prize you can get was $1,000 for winning, and now it's up to $3,000 for winning, but you can only win one. So for example, if you win and you get the highest score on the leaderboard or something like that, then you don't get 4,000, you get just the 3,000 because one prize is bigger than the other.
Yeah.
So I guess those are the main things. Like I said, we are going to talk about this later this month. I'm sure they're going to talk about this again. But if you are interested in looking at it, it is an extremely, extremely long blog, which is why we're not covering here, because we don't really want the episode to be like 3 hours this time.
Yeah. They do say that last time they thought the corrupted weaponry was in a good spot, but their usage was lower than they anticipated, perhaps because their power levels were a bit too low. So this time we're increasing their accuracy by up to 100% of their originals and raising their strength bonuses up to 85% of their originals, with a notable exception of the Timican Shadow because it's busted.
Yeah. So still not as good as the originals, but
yeah, just want to make sure you guys know it is better though. It's going to be a little bit better, and additionally there's going to be a 4th random breach that's going to happen too. Every day.
Randomly. Yeah. They don't say where or when.
Yeah, they just said that's going to be like a region breach. So they spawn across the entire region, typically one outside the usual hotspots, and it will gain about 30 spawn points, and it'll just, happen randomly. Yeah.
All right, that's it.
I just wanted to make sure those 2 parts were said. The rest, I don't know. The rest is probably going to change, honestly, by next week.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll continue to progress over time. But yeah, so everyone that is a fan of PvP, hopefully you have that to look forward to. It's kind of like the PvP leagues of the year.
Mm-hmm. I do feel bad if any PvPers listen that we just totally glossed over most of that blog. But we will read all of it eventually.
Why are you sorry? We're literally going to go over it like next week, I'm probably sure.
Probably, maybe.
Anyways, we can go over the mini games. So this is the update from last week, the actual update, and this is part of Project Rebalance as well. But all of this was pertaining specifically to the skills of the balance or of the patch.
So starting out, it's been a couple weeks since the first part of Project Rebalance went live, and we're happy with where most of the changes are at. Even so, we have a few more tweaks for you this week. First, an update on expert mining gloves, which have been re-enabled for sandstone with some minor balancing changes. Initially, players were able to mine a whopping 3 extra sandstone before the rock depleted, which was a little stronger than intended, but as of today, you'll be able to mine 1 extra. Sticking with the mining theme, we also hotfixed a couple of Volcano changes. To deter leeching, all players must now deal some armor damage to Volcano, regardless of how much health damage they deal over the course of the fight. Additionally, the minimum contribution required has increased. I don't love that because I went to Mass World and it sucks now. It's done in 1 round. You can use like 1 rock and throw it, and you just have to hope that you could mine faster than they can knock it down.
Yeah, it was already tough, but a lot of people are saying like if you don't like Mass Worlds, then you should try and like find like a lot of people are what they're doing is they're going to Mass Worlds, finding it's too fast, and then like getting like 3 or 4 other people and making like a world of 5.
Yeah, that's what I did. Someone was saying like, we're going to this world, and I just hopped with them.
Yeah, so that's generally seems to be what people are doing now, and it's still really fast with 5, so maybe try that out. But
Yeah.
yeah, generally these volcano worlds are just too fast for
Yeah,
most
which
people.
you wouldn't think is a thing, but it's a thing.
Yeah, and for anyone wondering, I think this kind of was an inadvertent or maybe advertent upgrade to pet chasing at this boss because the rate didn't change and it's still per kill, not anything weird like the tool
Oh,
seed.
the fast KC thing's gonna be great whenever I want the pet.
Yeah,
But I was going for a tool seed for bingo. So the way the tool seed drops, because I looked into it, is it's 1 out of every 200 total volcano kills. Like every time it drops, it just does 1 out of 200, and then it randomly chooses someone in the room. So if there's like a billion of you, you're never getting that drop.
yeah. So that's why, yeah, that's why we always say, like, for instance,
Small groups for
if
money, bigger for
you
pet.
yeah, it's always been that way though. So like if you were in a group of 10 or something like that, then it would be 10 times 1 out of whatever it is, 1 out
Yeah,
of 400 or 200. So
200.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's a really really low drop chance unless you're in a group
yeah.
or a small group.
Um, a third hotfix applies a delay when re-entering the Broomhaven Agility Dungeon after telling out. This prevents players from using the Achievement Diary cape to repeatedly tally out, re-enter, and tag a player close to the entry ladder, resulting in unexpectedly high XP rates. It's really funny because the week before this update, remember they had to change it so you can't just like hop worlds, and
Yeah.
people just found another way to cheat it instead.
Yeah, I mean, they'll find a way.
Thought that was funny. Last week, now 2 weeks ago, we reduced fail rates when pickpocketing paladins, gnomes, and heroes, but many of you still feel that didn't hit the mark. This week, we're improving their fail rate even more. Note that XP per hour for those NPCs does scale drastically with your thieving level. Paladins, for example, ramp up from around 90k per hour at level 70 to potentially over 180,000 XP per hour at level 99. And that was something that you thought was way too low. So
I still think that.
along similar lines, we're walking back a change we made to Fever Spider's loot table last week, which turned them into a powerful, risk-free AFK moneymaker. It's another kind of spider altogether, so we've taken things down a notch by replacing the Rune Medium Helm and Battle Axe with their adamant equivalents and swapping water bottle staves for Limport roots. We remain open to further changes following your feedback. And then 2 tiny little tweaks as well. They corrected messaging that plays when the Orsaka Motherlode mine is full. And a Faraday's aid now correctly interacts with tier 1 and tier 2 vampires instead of reducing damage dealt to them.
Yeah.
You worked out Fever Spiders for a little bit, too.
Yeah, I did Fever Spiders for like 3 or 4 mil. It's pretty good money early on, but
Not
no
anymore.
longer. For anyone wondering, it's like essentially gutted. You're not getting any money there. But that being said, because it does, if you're an iron, it does drop Quarms and Limpworts, which are both of the items you need to make the potions for that level of herb lore. So that's pretty cool. That being said, I still, as well as probably most people, will not really be doing paladins and stuff like that because it's not really the XP part that, or the fail rate that needed to be fixed. It's the XP part, which didn't change.
Well, I mean, doesn't failing less, that equals more XP technically?
No, because they just reduce the XP you get per steal in accordance with it. So it's still 180k, even though you fail less. I mean, that's what they did the first time, so I don't know why it'd be different this time.
Well, I think that they only changed the one this time because last time people were complaining.
I mean, either way, it says here it's 180k.
Yeah, still not as much.
It's still 70,000 less than knights. So why would you ever not do knights?
True.
So yeah, it's as simple as that. But anyways, there's some minigame improvements, minigames that people never asked for, but there's someone that plays this.
Definitely.
Someone plays this, and yeah. So hopefully this helps them. And we're talking about Trouble Brewing.
Everyone's favorite.
I'm actually not going to say particularly which one, but many of the different actions, such as capturing monkeys, obtaining bitter nuts, depositing scrapey tree bark, adding team's color to the water, all of those things, pretty much everything in the game has had their XP rates increased actually fairly significantly.
Yeah, so now the method before was literally to go AFK, and now you could actually like kind of train there.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because people even brought this up the day that they came out with this, is like, this is cool, but also still the meta even now
still standing.
is no, you just repeatedly dump buckets of water.
Yeah.
They still haven't fixed that, so that's still the best way to get points and to get experience. Or I don't know about experience, but to get points for sure. So.
Yeah, not experience.
Anyways, yeah, hopefully they fix that. I don't know. But either way, Trouble Brewing hopefully is a little bit better. Speaking of better, they also changed the reward currency. Previously, it was actually an item called Pieces of 8. But now they've been converted to variables stored on your account. So it's no longer an item. You don't need to worry about them. They were automatically converted whenever this update went out. So you don't need to worry about.
Yeah, like Guardians of the Rift, it just stores it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't lose it.
Also, they added a new classic free-to-play option to the Magic dropdown while setting up a Clan Wars game. This is just totally a different minigame now.
Well, it said minigame changes. They didn't say only Trouble Brewing.
Yeah, true. But they just didn't separate it. I was like kind of confused for a second. The setting now makes it so that Bind is the only free spell available in the game while this setting is enabled.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, pretty nice. Fully grown plants in the Tithe Farm no longer decay. That's really nice.
That is really nice.
Because,
it's weird to still feel like you're in a rush even when you're all done.
Yeah, because like a lot of people are like, you're used to hustling whenever you're actually doing the mini game, and then you're like, oh, it's over, but then you still have to.
It's not over.
Yeah, you still have to keep going because they'll rot for some reason. Mm-hmm. Also, Tears of Guthix will now show you your last personal best, or your personal best in general, so you can try to beat it.
It's funny. Fim literally sent a screenshot the other day and was like, "Since when does it say your personal best?" And I was like, "Since the last week's update."
Yeah, since now. So now you can check that out. Also, Guardians of the Rift entry barrier has a little bit of an update showing whenever there's actually a red open eye variant now. So for instance, if there is a player count that has already reached 200 and you can't actually enter even though it's enterable.
Like the game hasn't started.
Yeah, the game hasn't started and there's 200 players, meaning you can't enter. So technically it's open, but not really. So it gives you a visual indicator that you can't actually go in.
Kind of cool.
And it also does this, it doesn't mention it here, but I played it and realized this is, it also shows a red eye that's open whenever the game just finishes as well.
Yeah, you spam click normally. It's very annoying. Because it shows an open eye like you could go in, and they're like, they're finishing it up. And I'm like, then why are you?
Exactly. So during that time, it'll still show the red open eye, and then it'll swap to the yellow open eye whenever you can actually enter.
That's good. Yeah, the way I normally do it is literally spam clicking, which is annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying.
All right, other changes. Just like all good updates, we've got a scattering of smaller ones spread throughout a variety of content. That's not too easy to group with everything else. Up first is a change to the G interface. I noticed this before I read the blog post and I was like, what is this? So this allows you to set up your own plus whatever percent and minus whatever percent buttons when buying or selling for the trader in a serious rush. As you know before, like it just had little arrows where it would like raise it by like 5%.
Yeah, the arrows were always 5%, but now there's 5% as well as a custom percentage amount.
Yeah, I'm still just clicking the 5%. I don't care. I just want to buy stuff.
Yeah.
So you can use these buttons to enter in any custom amount you'd like to strike the perfect balance between less spam clicking on the 5% button and paying millions of gold for one niche quest item, right clicking. I read that all as like one sentence, or paying millions of gold for one niche quest item. Right-clicking on the button lets you customize this value at any time. For me, it wasn't right-clicking. I was able to just left-click it normal. I don't know.
Oh, to set the value?
I thought so. Maybe I'm tripping.
That would be weird, because how would you even click it to actually set it up?
I don't know how to explain what I mean right now.
Because if you clicked it to actually do the like 100% that you set, then every time you left-click it, you'd have to reset it again. How would you even add the percent?
Honestly, I've only clicked it once, so I didn't realize. I clicked on accident, and I was like, why is it having me enter a number?
Yeah, okay. But anyways, yeah, so that's kind of funny. It's funny that this was like ever a problem. Whenever I just wanted an item and didn't care about the price, I would just like press like the custom number, and then I would just hit like one.
Well, that's
like, I'll just spam one like 6 times and then press.
That's what they're saying.
Enter.
People would accidentally pay millions because someone put something very expensive
at
the GE.
It wasn't an accident. And like if it was like a cake or something and it wasn't buying, I would just put like 111,111.
The way that it works though is if no one else is putting in buy offers, then it will like, if someone puts a cake for like 11,000 and no one else is selling a cake, and you put that, you would end up paying 11,000.
Yeah.
So people would just go and buy very niche things that happen to be listed for a lot. And then
Well, I mean, that's their fault. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why people would ever like accidentally buy something for millions of gold.
They probably just type like one
It's
M.
Yeah, I guess so. Next is a change to theater. Specifically, this is for all the people that are trying to solo theater and or everyone on your team sucks and dies on Verzik. Now it acts more like how hard mode does, which makes it actually a lot easier, funny enough. So if one player remains during normal mode of Verzik's P2, only one Nihilocus, the red one, will spawn. So this is way easier than two of them.
I didn't notice only two spawn. Or two spawn.
Yeah. If only one player remains during normal mode Verzik's P2, the lightning ball damage is also capped, so you don't just get immediately one shot. Yeah. So made it a little bit easier. Also, to round us off, here's a list of other tweaks. We're sure your favorite part of today's update is likely to be somewhere in here, as is tradition.
True, it is always like the little tiny things at the end.
I mean, they say that, but this first one is huge. I've seen people lose hours on this.
Oh, yeah.
There is now a warning message in case, because, for instance, before you could just like release all your salamanders and it's, not a big deal.
You just one-click them and release them.
But also, if you release them and there was a Teku salamander in there,
a mature Teku,
then it would still release it like no problem. But now it gives you a warning you're about to release a mature Teku.
Yeah, which they're like a 1 out of 1,000 or something. So
it's very rare.
You don't want to lose that.
Besides that, the troll tunnels leading up to Troll-Wise during the Troll Romance quest have been...
say troll a couple more times.
Troll has been restored to single-way combat. This is to correct an error. Staff of the Dead special attack is now cleared when using the Rejuve pool in your POH. A new option has been added to the settings menu, allowing you to pick your hit sounds.
Oh, I haven't messed around with that yet.
This is the sound your character makes when you get hit.
I want to go, ugh. What's that video? The mummy one?
Yeah, the mummy one.
Yeah.
Also, Elven teleport crystals now have a toggle option when right-clicking, allows you to set up your left click for either Lichia or Prifdinus.
Yeah, most people don't go to Lichia.
I do. Actually, it's funny. I actually usually do because it's anytime I was teleporting with the teleport seed, it was to do my farming runs.
I do it for farming, but a lot of people use it for like gauntlet and stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. But
Volcano.
Just don't leave.
Agility.
Just go there, finish the log, and then don't leave.
Okay, you were so spooned it. Shut up.
Worms have had their animation adjusted to make them accessible because apparently people will just see the worms and have seizures.
Every time that they have to change something and be like, yeah, people at risk of seizures can play it now, I'm like, this has been in here for so long. How is this just getting fixed?
Yeah. And lastly, they fixed a bug where it was possible to skip Vidion's second phase.
I wish I heard about this bug when it was still in.
Nope. That's it.
Then they also, have some little community updates. Yeah, the new book we went over, and then some little videos and stuff.
Yeah. He's a frog.
I thought you meant like Jimmy in that video. I was like, oh, is he?
No, Guthix.
Yeah.
Speaking of Guthix.
Yeah, while Guthix sleeps, actually, while he is an eepy little baby, we're going to talk about the rewards from his new quest.
Yeah, an eepy little frog.
Eepy frog on a porch. He's sunbathing.
I guess I'll start.
Oh, I thought we weren't going to read the hotfixes till after.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Anyway, I'll start then. He was like paused at the feedback.
I wasn't sure if you're going to read the feedback. I mean, we're going to go over it.
The feedback's edited into it anyway.
Okay.
The quest. While Guthix Sleeps continues the Majorat storyline in an epic, sprawling adventure filled with powerful artifacts, sneaky spies, and more druids than can shake a staff. You could shake a staff at. It's one of... Why are you just scared?
Because I'm like, I don't know. I thought you were done.
I was mid-sentence and he just scrolled down.
I thought you would have already remembered what it was.
No, it's one of the most iconic RuneScape quests, and we can't wait to bring it to old school. You can catch up on all the details in past episodes of our podcast or in their old news post. On this globe-trotting journey, you'll come up against formidable foes, including the iconic Tormented Demons, with some small changes that should make them more engaging to fight. And with that, we'll get into the rewards, and you are allowed to scroll now.
Okay. Before we get into them, I was thinking about this earlier, actually last week. I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, they're coming out with Guthix Sleeps, right? And they've already done this quite a few times where they come out with other quests that they've already, done in the past or thought of before or something like that. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, that's cool. But also, this is like, I don't know, like I kind of don't like it.
Why?
Because we've kind of like, I think about it in this way, which is kind of weird. I get it, but also like I think it would be more interesting this way is like we've already been down this timeline.
Oh,
Like
you want news stories?
obviously the rewards are different, which is the only thing that's different really. And we've like already done all this, right? Like this led to, I'm not saying this will
I
lead
don't
to the
know.
same outcome,
I don't know
but
the lore.
what do you mean?
Like, I don't know what this leads to.
No, this leads to RS3.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I think that this would probably be the end of the quest line, I imagine.
I mean, sure.
Unless they change
I
stuff
mean, I guess
crazy.
it's like interesting, but I'm not saying that this would be the same like that this would be the same outcome. Like I don't think
Is
like
this quest EOC?
yeah, exactly. Like I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is like I feel like it would just be like everyone that has nostalgia for this quest already knows how it ends, which is okay. I mean, they don't care. And
I like quests though.
I'm not saying to remove the quest. I was just saying, wouldn't it be more interesting to do a quest that, or make up a quest that no one's done before?
I think we should do both.
Okay. All right.
I
I
like
thought we were
that.
gonna have a good conversation. We can
No,
move
I
on to
genuinely,
rewards.
I've heard that this is a lot of people's favorite quest, so I actually do want to do it because I don't want to make a RuneScape 3 account to do a quest, you know?
I mean, sure, but also let's pretend Matrix One is your favorite movie. What if they just remade Matrix 1? It would probably suck or like be way cooler if they just made a different movie like John Wick or something that they just didn't make before.
Nobody likes John Wick though.
It's literally
I
one of
know,
the
I'm
most
just
popular
kidding.
movies ever.
I've not seen them though.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just one, it feels kind of lazy. I'm like, all right, cool. You're just
Well, I think of it as the opposite of lazy. I think of it as it's probably pretty easy to do, so they could just
exactly. That's
not late in a lazy way though. Thinking of it as like why work harder when you could work smarter and just backload quest
okay.
and then work on other stuff with your time.
I don't
So like
know.
we're still getting content even while they're working on other things, I guess.
I was just thinking like it's lazy because it's already done. Like I mean, it's the same thing as being like, all right, I just got an old car, slapped some new paint on it. Now it's a new car. I'm like, yeah, sure. I guess that's definitely the most efficient way. But wouldn't it be more exciting to just get a new car?
I don't think it should be like the main thing. I think it should be like the ones that they backported before where it's just like they're like, oh, by the way, we're adding this. But it is a Grandmaster and it has I mean the rewards we're gonna go over are pretty exciting. So I guess they do have to hype it up more. But yeah, I mean I'm not opposed to them spending less time working on this.
And more time working on
Whatever
not
else they're doing.
Leagues 4.
Leagues 5 now.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna do Leagues 5 again.
Yeah, maybe next year.
No, it's only May. How are you being so negative about
Was it
it?
on the timeline?
No, but the other leagues wasn't until last second.
All right.
We haven't had the summertime one yet.
All I know is I felt the same exact way, and it actually worked out exactly how I thought it would work out in World of Warcraft, for example. Whenever they reintroduced vanilla World of Warcraft, which is the base World of Warcraft, after being out for like 16 years, they came out with the first one again. And it was cool for like the first couple months or something like that. And then everyone's like, all right, cool. We've killed all these bosses. This is really boring.
I mean, it's like the Fresh Start Worlds in a way. You like the nostalgia for a second, and then you're like, okay,
Yeah.
the nostalgia's faded.
I mean, obviously.
Like all the stuff I do now isn't stuff I did when I was a kid.
Yeah. And it's not like the nostalgia of the new quest, if they did reimagine this quest, would not ever get boring, obviously. But like, it would be cooler for longer and maybe introduce new bosses that were more interesting or just different.
I don't know. I have no idea what this new boss is that they're introducing, to be honest.
Yeah, well, none of us do. But
No,
we do
some
know
people do.
what the boss might give us, maybe, because we have rewards.
And we do know what the boss. It's not even a boss. It's just tormented demons.
Yeah, I know.
You can't just make a segue if it's a lie.
Okay.
Also, I posted a really funny short of me whenever I announced that like we weren't going to have a podcast episode. It was like the caption was something like Robert reading the OSRS patch notes, and I thought it was really funny, and you guys should go watch it. Thanks. I won't explain it because I know I'll make it worse.
Okay. Besides that, though, we do have some rewards to go over. So, starting off, during the Winter Summit Mega Poll, we asked whether you'd like to see a new unique item from the Tormented Demon Loot table, and whether or not we should also add the D-Claws. So
Glad
obviously
they didn't. That was kind of weird.
we didn't add the D clause because that would be weird. So they're offering a new trifecta of demon bane weapons crafted from tormented synapses, which is like the spine of the new enemy.
Oh, is that what that means?
A synapse, it's not a spine, but it has to deal with a spine in the way like your nerves connect or something like that.
I thought it was like a gem.
No, not even close. You'll need at least 74 in the relevant skill to craft all 3 items, and unlike other craftables, we're not giving you the option to have it crafted on an NPC, and 74 is very low, so don't even begin.
I was going to say,
please.
as an iron, how do you feel about it?
It's very low. Anything below 80 is very low.
Cool. The first weapon is Firelight. This is an untradeable melee weapon. So this is actually an upgrade from the Mighty Arclight. Unlike Arclight, this fiery blade doesn't need to be charged with ancient shards. Instead, you'll upgrade a fully charged Arclight with the tormented synapse, did I say it? And 74 smithing. Firelight has increased stab and slash accuracy, as well as the same 70% increased accuracy and damage bonus as its predecessor. Additionally, it improves on Arclight's special attack, lowering the strength, attack, and defense of demons by 15% of their base level +1, and non-demons by 5% of their base level +1. So that's a 5% increase over Arclight. With a sword at your side, you'll cut through the Abyssal Siren Cerberus like butter. So the upgrade should be more than worth the effort of crafting the blade.
Yep.
I feel like it'll probably look cool. They should have the animation look like little flames coming off it whenever you do the special.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because we're obviously going to get to this very soon. I'm not trying to skip ahead, but it's funny because all 3 of these items are fire based.
Spoiler!
But it's funny because the demons are actually weak to water in the game now that the weaknesses are out.
Don't ruin my fun.
So that's kind of funny. The fact that this weapon actually has to be created from a fully charged Arclight is not my favorite thing.
I think
because
it's too much.
Shards take a long time to get, and it's not like I don't I wouldn't want to do the grind for it, but it's more for the fact that like it kind of disincentivizes you from using your shards until you feel like you can just sustain a fully charged Arclight.
A fully charged Arclight, by the way, is 30 shards.
Yeah, that's a lot of shards.
Yeah, because they did have some feedback asking about, like, what about the Arclight now?
Yeah,
People had the opposite concern of you, kind of. They were like, it won't be relevant anymore. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, they are saying that because it's not like you have both. You have one and then you upgrade to the Firelight, eliminating Arclight. It's the same concern in that why would you use the Arclight until you have the Firelight?
I mean, I think that they made a very good point, which is this is locked behind a Grandmaster quest that you have to go and then grind the drop, being the Tormented Synapse. It's a goal to work towards. It's not something that you just automatically upgrade when the quest comes out.
Yeah, no,
So you'll still be using the Arclight for a long time, probably.
Yeah, I still think it's a terrible idea. Mostly because, I mean, you're not, I don't know. I mean, you're not an iron, but anyways, you would still need to do this. Like, I don't know in what case you would be like, all right, cool, let me farm for whatever. Is it like 3 hours per shard, 2 hours per shard? So like 60 hours or something like that. And then be like, all right, let me use some of these and then farm some more later because I might get my
Well, I mean, to be
my
fair,
upgrade like
I feel
tomorrow.
like most people don't use their shards other than charging Arclight. The other use for it is just telling via the altar and Korend.
Yeah.
Which, like, I've only ever done an accident.
Okay, I'll tell you my thinking literally as someone that's going to grind
Sure.
this is I'm not going to use the Arclight because I would rather take the L on damage per second just so that I don't have to grind more shards until I unlock this thing.
Okay, I feel like you weren't wording correctly. What you mean is you'll be wasting the shard charges using an Arclight.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying this whole time.
No, but you didn't say exactly like that, so I was like, I don't understand the issue.
How are you understanding it?
You sitting there with an Arclight in one inventory spot and shards in another inventory spot being like, I just can't do it. And me being like, why would you not just do it?
No, I'm saying why would I spend, for example, let's say I was doing a task, or something, or farming the synapse and using the arc light, and I only had 17 shards, why would I do that? Like 17 shards worth of a charged arc light. Why would I do that instead of just continuing to like save up charges to get a fully charged arc light? Why would I ever use it before it's fully charged?
I mean, the main place you use Arclight for me is Skatizo and like Sire.
And Tormented Demons and these new demons that are going to be coming out.
I mean, maybe.
No, not maybe. It's best in slot.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, it's like they said, it's a goal to work towards, Robert. You just want handouts.
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyway,
I mean,
I'm just going to buy at the GE.
I would be surprised if you have more than 30 shards and you spend a lot of time in Corinne.
No, I've definitely had more than 30.
Like,
I'm going to check my Skatizo drop log while you read the next part.
I definitely never had even remotely close to that many on my main,
Well,
so I don't know how long I'd have to farm for to get it.
I mean, I'm thinking
5.
this only counted 5. You
All right,
get one for
5,
every
dude,
kill.
5, brother.
Every Skatizo KC, you get 5 of them. Every time you kill a superior, I believe you get one of them.
Yeah, probably. A superior is 1 out of 200.
Yeah, but if you're like me, you're spending all your Slayer time there. You're gonna have more shards than you know what to do with. I've been like,
If you're like me,
I spent all my time in Corinne. Do you remember?
I know,
I
but
wanted the head so
most
bad.
people don't do that. So,
Yeah, but I
most
mean-
people aren't like you.
Go to Corinne. Grow up.
Yeah, either way, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think it makes sense, and there's no other item that does this. So, which I mean isn't, I guess, the best precedent, but still, it just doesn't. Maybe it wasn't like that before for a reason. Anyways, we have the Scorching Bow. So
Kind of a cool name.
the next weapon will let fiery arrows fly from afar. With 74 fletching and a tormented synapse, you'll be able to craft this new composite bow with 124 range accuracy and 40 ranged strength.
That's really good, right?
Yes, it is very good. This is also, to clarify, they don't say this here, but it was answered. This is not a charged weapon, and you can use dragon arrows. So
Oh, that's really good.
this bow is the closest competitor to a Bofa, and actually is kind of compelling. We were actually talking about this the other day in the GIM group. This is kind of compelling me to not do the Bofa grind on my GIM.
Which, fair. Who wants to go to SDG?
It's an incredibly long
Such
grind.
a long grind, because you have to grind the entire outfit, too.
Yeah, the outfit is 1 out of 20 per item, and then 1 out of 400, or per armor seed.
And you need
And
multiple
then
armor seeds.
You need 6 of them, and then you need to get the weapon, which is I think 1 out of 40, and then the enhanced weapon, which is 1 out of 400.
No, literally, if I was in Iron, I don't think I'd want to grind CG.
Yeah,
I think CG is actually kind of fun. I'm still learning it, but the drop rates are so bad. Like, no.
and that doesn't even go into the special effect. So with greater power comes more power. So as the Scorching Bow offers 30% accuracy increase as well as damage increase against demons. So 30% for both, which is huge. And unfortunately, that's not the particular element, the fire. But anyways, it also has a nasty special attack.
Stinky special attack.
Very nasty.
Disgusting.
So this is actually going to bind your enemy for 5 ticks while dealing 1 bonus damage. And if they're a demon, it binds them for 20 ticks, so 4 times as long, and increases the bonus to 5.
This sounds like it'll be nice for Skatizo, because the only way now is, like, you literally just use Arclight. So now you get options.
Yeah.
Cool.
They even say here that they are hoping that this weapon will serve as a decent, cheaper alternative to the Bow of Ferdinand and also
Bofa Sans Crystal
Bofa
Armor.
the Sands, the Crystal. Yeah, because Crystal Armor really does make Bofa really
Insane.
good. So this will just be an in-between. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you had the Scorching Bow, I would personally rather farm the Scorching Bow and full Masori than go for the Crystal Armor plus the Bofa.
Well, because raids are kind of fun as well.
And it just takes less time.
I don't know. It took me a long. It just depends on your RNG, but
Yeah,
that's the
of
same thing
course.
with CG as well. But it will be hitting harder against demons than the Bofa.
Yeah, just straight up 30% more accuracy and damage is huge against any demons. So like, well, your krills and stuff like that will.
Your krills.
Yeah, I don't
All
know.
of them.
I don't know what else. Also, people did have questions on
Serb.
how these are going to fare against certain bosses. I forgot what they said, but
Yeah. I'd be
Oh,
curious. Does that mean that you won't have to melee necessarily at places?
maybe. But they also did say about the ignited staff was one thing that people asked is there's a staff that we're about to talk about, and this actually does work with Demon Bane spells. So people were asking
No,
about
they do. I
this.
think they edited that to say it.
Yeah, they added it since, but yeah, it does work in combination with demon spells to make him really strong.
Yeah, so ignited staff. With 74 crafting, you'll be able to synthesize the ignited staff from a tormented synapse. As is typical for magic weapons, it works a little differently from its ranged and melee siblings. Rather than giving you outright damage boost against demons, this weapon instead autocasts combat spells from the Arceus spellbook. On its own, that doesn't sound like such a great reward, but using Demon Maiden spells will double the bonuses. Additionally, the ignited staff has a special attack. You must be on the Arceus spellbook to cast it, which is handy given the effect, and you must be targeting a demon. When used, the special attack will cast the highest available Demon Bane spell at your target. If your target is killed by the spell, you'll restore 25% of your special attack energy, and the delay on your next attack will be reduced by 3. So it's like Death Charge.
Yeah, it's really good.
I wonder if you could use it with Death Charge and just get like super special attack back.
Are they the same spellbook?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wonder.
I think. Yes, they are. They are.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. And all these weapons will be, those 3 are all going to be untradeable.
Yeah.
The next one is tradable though.
The next one is tradable. So these are going to be the Burning Claws.
They didn't want to put in Dragon Claws again.
Yeah, so they're aiming for this to sit in between D Claws and a DDS. So, yeah, take that for what you will. This has a really interesting special attack, though. So it says, we have one final surprise for you, some ferocious claws. Since the D Claws remain in chambers, we wanted to add a new reward that invokes the same feeling. So Burning Claws will also bridge the gap for melee spec weapons between the DDS and the D Claws, like I just mentioned.
That is such a big window.
Very
so
big.
I can't even guess how much these work.
Well, actually not that big of a window, unfortunately. This weapon works much the same as the latter, being D-Claws, while giving you a chance to inflict burn. And this burn is the same exact type of burn that comes from the Perilous Moons set, for anyone that is wondering. So I guess they can stack, technically. While burnt, the target will be dealt 10 damage over the course of 40 ticks, so 1 damage every 4 ticks, and can stack up to 5 times, being 50 damage over 40 ticks, I'm guessing.
I don't know how that part worked. But that's actually kind of good.
I don't think it'd be 50 damage over 200 ticks.
I was reading it more as like 200 damage. No, it's 10 damage. Never mind.
I was reading it more as 1,000. I just feel like that would be 5 times.
I was reading and I thought it said 40 damage. I don't know, man.
But yeah, pretty interesting. It's 62 stab, 54 slash. Weird that it has more stab. That makes no sense.
They're gonna have to change that. What? Just with your claws.
Yeah.
Like a DJ.
It's weird. 32 melee strength, and it deals 175% damage over 3 hit splats for the special attack. It's kind of weird. Also, one of the mods was describing how accuracy and damage rolls for D-Claw specs, or claw specs in general, I guess. And it's kind of weird because, for instance, with the D-Claws, and this is how these claws work as well too, it'll roll the top amount. So it'll roll and be like, oh, do you hit with 200% effectiveness? And if it's like, no, okay, cool. Then that means that you roll again to see if you hit with 150% effectiveness.
Oh, it just keeps...
And it keeps going until it gets down to like, I don't know, like 75 and then 50% and then 0%. So
that makes me feel really bad whenever I hit zeros with my claws then.
Yeah, well, if you hit at all, then that means that you did successfully hit. It's just not all of them. It's just your initial hit rolls like that.
Okay.
Yeah, not all of the actual hit splats.
And these are all poll questions, by the way, if they should add these items. I think that the poll is still going right now, I believe.
It is.
And there's also a survey on the rewards that you could go and answer and like let them know what you think and stuff. So if you hate all these, Robert, you don't like the Arclight thing, you should take this poll. Survey.
Yeah, I don't like this. But also I don't care enough. So, because I mean, demons are such an irrelevant part of this game that it's not worth me voting. So.
True.
Unfortunately, there's no good demon bosses in this game.
Krill.
Krill, yeah.
Serb.
Oh, wow.
Sire.
Oh, wow. You're just naming all of the bosses that drop the least upgrades in the game.
Primordial boots.
Oh, man. That's the one strength. What am I going to do without that?
He's so sassy, but Serb has good drops. Oh my god, you're mean.
I was like, oh, what am I going to do without my green Jordans giving me
I said
zero
primordial
magic strength?
specifically.
Or zero range strength.
I was like, of course the range ones give you zero magic.
Zero. Yeah. Well, anyways, if they start dropping something good, maybe
oh my gosh,
I'll jump into the survey. But that is going to be it. We can move on to stuff from this week, which is going to be the stuff everyone's been waiting for.
Product rebalance. Combat changes.
But before we actually get into the Project Rebalance stuff, I just quickly, because it is relevant and this week, I figured I would kind of go into the comments of this post over on Reddit. This post being the Demon Bane stuff, and see kind of what people were talking about.
Okay.
And this is kind of interesting. I actually didn't really think about this, but they were saying that considering the new update making all demons weak to water by 50%, it's a lot. Then that's 50% accuracy and damage. They're saying that they could actually they would like to see the Demon Bane damage increased, because it's pretty close that you'll just straight up get outclassed with these Demon Bane weapons by water weapons.
I mean, will you actually? Did anyone do the math?
Because
the specials I feel like would make it a little different.
Yeah, I don't know. This person said they wish they could be a little stronger. Demon Bane magic is gonna be outclassed by waters with water weakness. If not being nearly the same DPS, which I could see that. Maybe it doesn't outclass it, but it gets pretty close, probably. Also, the Scorch Bow is between a magic short bow and a Bofa in DPS, while it seems good at demons with Masori, as Bofa seems as good at demons with Masori as Bofa in crystal armor. It could use an extra max hit or something to make it worth using.
I feel like it still sounds like it's worth using.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. But what do you think if they upgraded? I think specifically the mage could get a buff just because of the weakness
because the mage
stuff.
Update, which we're gonna go over soon.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, I'd want to see like what the max hits would be. Honestly, that's how I tell. Like, I don't understand like all the math when people are like, oh, plus 50% of blah blah blah. I hate that so much. Just be like, if you're wearing this outfit using this staff, that's how hard you hit. Now switch to this staff, and that's how hard you hit. That's what I need to know.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't have the numbers yet. It just came out.
What I'm saying is, though, I need to know the numbers to know, like, if I think it should be. Because I don't think it should be, like, crazy better than the water. It should definitely be, like, enough that you want to go and grind it, but not something that, like, you're screwed if you don't have it and have to use water instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Another thing is kind of like what we were talking about with the arc light, but people had a pretty interesting suggestion to overcome this. And I mean, 500 people upvoted, or 500 Reddit accounts upvoted this, and they were talking about the same thing. I was like, you might feel the need to hold back on using your arc light if you don't have 30 charges banked.
Yeah.
Especially if you do go dry at the synapse, then it's like, now you're going to take even longer to get the synapse, which makes it so you're going to take even longer to get the shards back, which is kind of feels bad. But they were saying like maybe you could compromise with this because the firelight is essentially like a corrupted version of the arc light. So why don't you
I don't know
introduce...
if we said it's going to be like, you're not going to have to charge it anymore.
Yeah, you're not going to have to charge it anymore.
So it really is like the corrupted.
So people are like, why not make it so you add the corrupting system that they were talking about previously, where each shard you spend is also put towards it having the 30 shard like cap.
Oh, okay.
So like if you already charge it with 10 and you still need 20, it won't feel bad to use those charges preemptively.
Oh, I mean, I guess that's kind of what I thought it would work like.
No, you have to have it fully charged. So if you have 30,000 charges and then you use 10,000, then you have to get another 10,000 charges.
No, but isn't that, I'm pretty sure that's how the Bofa is. It doesn't like keep them stuck there constantly adding up. Or I didn't think it did.
What do you mean?
How do I explain what I'm thinking? In my
So,
mind,
like,
I'm thinking of a fundraiser button, like a fundraiser bar. Like if for the BOFA, how I thought it worked, you put $20,000 towards the BOFA, but then someone takes out 10,000. You have to put back whatever's remaining plus the amount that you take out. Is how I thought it worked.
yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, but it sounds like what they're suggesting is that no matter how much you use, technically that 20,000 would still stay there.
Yeah.
That seems like it'd be too good, no?
Well, that's exactly how they were suggesting. Not them, but even the devs were suggesting that's how you corrupt an item over time.
It's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know if it's bad, but it's kind of weird.
Yeah, because it's the same. It's kind of the same exact thing, actually, with the BOFA for like an Iron Man. Because obviously, if you aren't an Iron Man, you could just buy a ton of armor seeds and then break them down for shards.
I did mine mostly the Iron way. I just actually had a lot of crystal seeds or crystal shards.
Did you?
Yeah, I only bought like 3. I bought like 3 Eternal Telly seeds, and that's it.
Yeah.
I did a lot of Volcano. I had like 800 KC at Volcano, and I did a lot of agility.
Yeah, I mean that's cool, but also
Weird brag.
No, I was just gonna say even with you, someone that spent like kind of a more than typical amount of time for a main doing elven stuff, you still had to buy more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like it just makes it like easier because like same thing. Like,
yeah, it does take a long time to charge.
Why would you ever want to use any of your charge for like? I mean, because like you especially. Or Iron Man's especially feel this because if you want a divine, you have to use shards.
Yeah, I think that the alternative could just be to make shards more likely from stuff. Whenever I was doing agility, like you only get a shard like every few laps, and those laps are like a minute and a half long.
But this would do, slow. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but yeah. I want to say that there was more stuff I wanted to talk about, like specifically about the like where the use cases for these were, but I'll bring it up if I can find it. I cannot find it though.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, we'll move on to Project Rebalance combat changes.
Yep.
So you know all about Project Rebalance by now, so we shan't repeat ourselves. If you'd like to catch up, you could check out their mini blogs towards it, or you could also check out any of our podcast episodes about it. We talked about it a lot too. But just like our last Project Rebalance update, today's news post covers a lot of ground and highlights some pretty big alterations to the status quo. With that in mind, we want to reiterate that we love OS's combat system exactly how it is. The aim of these changes is not to fundamentally change combat, but to further improve the parts of the system which make it so satisfying to play. These changes open up a new space for awards that don't contribute to bloat and power creep.
Float?
Yeah. While leaning into the right tool for the right job element that makes getting gear upgrades feel like progress. Over the coming weeks, we'll no doubt find small tweaks we can make to ensure combat is running smoothly. While we've run betas and worked with the community to make sure we're on the right track, no amount of testing can compare to thousands of you getting stuck in and letting us know how you actually feel about it. If something doesn't seem right, just let us know and we'll do our best to sort it out, even if that means rolling changes back. That sounds scary, don't panic. Most of these changes won't impact current gameplay at all and simply pave the way for future activities, bosses, and rewards. All your existing gear setups will still work just fine, although you may want to make 1 or 2 adjustments to squeeze a little extra power out of your equipment. That sounds exciting. Keep reading to learn more. You want to start out? I
Sure.
laughed because I glanced down. He was pulling up a screenshot, and I saw a picture of me right after my wisdom tooth surgery.
Yeah. Kind of funny. Speaking of like stuff that's broken, there's already been quite a few things that people have reported as being broken. Number one is like I saw a lot of people saying thralls don't work at Ulm for whatever reason. They just straight up didn't work. They would just sit there. But yeah,
that probably got fixed.
I don't know if it's gotten fixed. It's definitely on their radar. Besides that, I also saw stuff like doing the maze on Sodetzeg with a Soul Reaper axe would actually just like remove your charges and not give you health back.
What?
Yeah, like getting teleported to the beginning of the maze, like it would just remove it for, I don't know why.
Okay.
But yeah, kind of weird.
Really weird bugs.
Yeah, definitely weird. But there's been other stuff, but they've kind of mostly been not that big a deal. But anyways, it's kind of what you can expect with a big update like this.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, we have elemental weaknesses because, or so, like we already, like I said, we've kind of already gone over this multiple times.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna try and summarize this
I mean,
because there's a lot of words.
They're summarizing it a lot. In the past, they've done like half a page worth.
Yeah, to break it down, there's going to be quite a few enemies. Definitely not all of them by any means, but
nowhere close to all. Don't worry.
But just a few. It's like 20 or something like that. And all of them have a weakness to an element. And what a weakness is essentially if a mob is 50% weak to something, then that means that they will take 50% more damage and you will be 50% more accurate. So for every percentage they are weak, you get 1% of accuracy and damage. So it's actually really, really simple like that. But yeah, so it makes it kind of easy. For enemies that are weak to things, we're just going to go with all the elemental weaknesses. Yeah.
Sure. So you skipped like some stuff, so I was confused. There's also a spreadsheet if you guys want to see a full list. The spreadsheet looks like so much. Did you click it?
Yeah, it's an Excel sheet, and it just shows you which mobs are on the sheet and what they're weak to now.
It's a very big, intimidating looking to me spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's really not that big a deal. Yeah, this is.
Can you please click food? I'm about to die.
Okay.
Anyway, also you forgot to say if you for whatever reason like to play the old-fashioned way, you can use Monster Examine, and it will say what kind of like elemental weakness stuff has.
Yeah, it's kind of. I kind of hate this spell, but yeah, if you are
I've never used it in my life, but I think that people using it in the past has probably helped me.
It's because don't you have to be on the lunar spellbook to use this?
Something like that.
Yeah,
pretty. But I feel like people use it and then go on like the wiki and update stuff, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, just go to the wiki like everyone else.
Well, someone has to do it first.
Yeah, no, you can just
let whoever's doing it now keep doing it.
The spreadsheet's right here. You don't even need that.
Anyway, so starting out with air weaknesses, should we just go like back and forth between each?
Sure. You could just say all the air and I'll go with the water.
Yeah, there's not a lot of air. So air weaknesses being all of the Barrows brothers, all Aviancies, including Kree and his minions, Ghost and Skeletons.
Yeah, and their justification for adding this last minute is Ghosts don't like air.
Okay, you know, if you think about it, if you blew a fan at a ghost, I feel like it would dissipate.
I don't know. If I was a bird person and spent my whole life around strong gusts of wind, I feel like I'd be probably stronger.
I don't know why I was talking about ghosts and not the bird part. No, okay, what if you're a bird and you're flying and something knocks you sideways? You know, like the air knocks you a different way.
I mean, they have legs.
Birds don't have legs.
Oh, okay.
They have little sticks.
Speaking of legs, chromatic dragons have legs, and they're also weak to water. And so by chromatics, we mean all of the dragons that are not metal dragons, so green, blue, red, black, and baby and brutal variants,
and
including KBD. Also lava dragons, a variety of demons, and they say because they're from a fiery, faraway land. So these demons include demonic, gorillas, greater demons, hellhounds, Krill and his minions, as well as lesser demons.
Hellhounds also include Cerberus, by the way.
Yes. Pyrofiends, fire giants, giant mole, and drakes are all weak to water.
And for earth weakness, metal dragons being bronze, iron, steel, mithril, adamant, and rune, water fiends, and worms.
And finally, we have fire weakness, giant spiders, nearly everything that begins with the word ice. Moss giants, mountain trolls, scarab swarms, scarab mages, Vespula, abyssal portals, weird, and the Nightmare's Totem.
Oh, also Kefri and her arcane soldiers, Spang, Scarabs, and Zora.
Oh yeah.
I hate whenever they put a little sub note in the middle of a list.
Yeah, kind of weird. But yeah, it's funny because almost immediately I don't know if they did it like not having seen that this was a concern already, but someone's all like, yeah, this is kind of confusing considering there's mobs like Hespori that aren't weak to fire.
Oh, I guess it's a tree.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, the treants aren't on here either. Tree spirits either.
They got tough wood.
Yeah, like I said, I said this months and months and months ago, is because they're not doing this to all the mobs. It's going to be really confusing as a player that doesn't keep up to date, or if you're new.
Okay, but I think we should read the next paragraph because it semi-relates to that.
Sure. They say we've kept this relatively tight, so it feels like...
So it doesn't feel like
every NPC in the game has changed overnight. While we're not opposed to adding more NPCs to the list, we're keen to let the dust settle and see how these changes impact the game before making further changes. Don't worry, we won't be drip feeding them week by week either. So I guess they're hoping to just do large sweeps of
like
mobs.
batches.
As much as we love writing this week's news post, we know you don't want to constantly checking in on minor balancing changes.
Yeah. Which is good. You know, all the stuff that they put in the miscellaneous changes that get missed are always the best stuff.
That is true. That's what I heard.
But that does mean that potentially in the future, stuff like that will be weak to fire. I just also imagine that because they literally say in the next section, any wizard knows that fire is stronger than air. It's hard to have everything weak to fire and then, you know, like 3 things weak to earth.
Yeah, I guess.
It just feels strange.
Also, that's just like not accurate, bro.
Anyway, so continuing on that sentence, this is on elemental spell scaling. So, and any wizard knows that fire is stronger than air, which rather throws a spanner in the works when it comes to making elemental weaknesses feel impactful. For this reason, you max hit with elemental spells Strike, Bolt, Blast, Wave, and Surge, and these will now scale to the highest level spell you have unlocked. So, an example of this, a player with level 5 magic has a max hit of 4 for both Wind Strike and Water Strike, since Water Strike is the highest tier spell they have unlocked. If they reach level 13 magic, all their elemental strike spells will have a max hit of 8, since the highest level spell they've unlocked is now Fire Strike. So, I mean, technically, you know, fire is the highest, at least in RuneScape.
Yeah.
Note that no spells hit higher than their tier's max hit. If you have level 99 magic, your Fire Strike will still have a max hit of 8. If you're wondering how this affects the Tome of Fire and Water, keep scrolling. We'll get to that later.
I mean, I'll just say right now, it only gives you a 10% damage increase, not 50.
Spoiler.
It's that simple.
God. Anyway, moving on to range defense types.
Yeah. I still really don't like this spell scaling thing.
Oh, I really like that, actually.
I hate it.
I love it.
But yeah, anyways.
I was very happy to see that, so that's funny that you hate it.
Yeah, we have ranged defense types. Also don't like this. I don't like the name of this.
I thought they were going to change the... I guess they're still working on it.
Still very problematic. So anyways, they're splitting NPC defenses for ranged into 3 categories, light, standard, and heavy. Light is going to be for things like darts, standard is for things like bows, and heavy is for things like crossbows. It's all based around the type of ammunition they use. So if bolts and javelins are what you use in your ranged weapon, it's heavy. Arrows, just arrows. But the thing is, light also includes knives.
Oh, and thrown axes.
As well as thrown axes and the Totsk Zil Ul thrown weapon. But also, for anyone wondering, the ranged weapon from Perilous Moons is considered a thrown weapon, so it will be part of the light category.
Okay.
Just so you know. But yeah, so they essentially added ranged weaknesses to certain mobs. This is a much more condensed set of mobs than the magic stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be for dragons. They've had their ranged heavy defense reduced.
I wish that instead they just did which ones are heavy, which ones are light, and which ones are standard.
I'll round it up for you. So
Please do.
All of these are...
They did in a really weird order.
All of these mobs are now weak to heavy type of weapons, aka crossbows. That's going to be Commander Ziliana, dragons of all kind, corporeal beast, gargoyles, Vasa,
Nex,
Vespula, skeletal mages, basilisk knights, Baba, and the Leviathan, and Nex. Besides that, things that are going to be weak to light, nothing is weak to medium. I don't even know why they included it. But what's weak to light is a single thing, Vespula.
Wait.
Oh, 2 things then.
No, you said I thought you said Vespula for the last one. Oh, Vespula is...
No, I said Vasa.
Yeah, and Vespula's portal is weak to heavy. Vespula and Lizardman will be weak to light. But the way that they listed this, man, there's 4 heavy things, 1 light. 2 heavy things, 1 more light, rest heavy. I'm like, why didn't you separate them?
Yeah, so there you go, which, I mean, is cool. The only thing that I think is cool about any of this is the fact that you can kill Lizardmen faster because you only use darts there anyways, more than likely.
You were saying, because it is weird that they didn't have any regular. I mean, they do say in the beginning of the blog that most of these changes are for future reference. So, yeah. I mean, I guess keep that in mind.
And maybe just do it in the future.
I don't know. I'm not opposed to it, but they do need to change their names. The names are weird.
Yeah, kind of weird. But anyways, they say short term, these changes mostly improve the standing of crossbows in places where they've fallen behind.
Find the Bofa and T-bow.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I guess the Zerite, maybe. I was like, I feel like they should be behind the T-bow.
Yeah, I guess. Again, the real benefit of these changes will be more flexibility in the future, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
On top of this set of changes, we made a handful of minor adjustments to melee defenses, and they are very minor, but they are interesting nonetheless.
I saw people excited about some of these.
Yeah, I like the dragon one.
Yeah, so dragons across the board, except for Forecath, have had their stab defense reduced. This also includes drakes and worms, who aren't dragons but are draconic in nature. Gargoyles have had their crush defense reduced and their stab and slash defenses increased. Lizardmen, including brutes and shamans, have had their stab defense reduced. If you like to subject yourself to meleeing them, bring something pokey. Vasa has had its crush defense reduced. Skeletal Mystics have had their crush defense, as well as Basilisk Knights, and Duke has had his slash defenses reduced, which is what I saw some being excited about.
Yeah, I guess that's cool. But yeah, so that's it. Overall, I definitely like lukewarm on these changes. Besides, the elemental ones are kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's it. Also, they should remove Monster Examine from the game.
That's very dramatic.
Why
would they remove it?
Someone was saying, one, because I think it's just a foolish thing. Like, it should just be either known or easier to do. I shouldn't have to, well, I never will because the wiki exists, but I shouldn't have to intendedly switch to a different spell book, come back, examine, and then go switch to another spell book, the one that I actually want to do to come fight this enemy.
I know what you mean, but at the same time, we don't have to do that because the wiki. Like, someone does it.
But imagine if...
Am I just saying someone else should have to suffer?
Yeah, imagine if someone else's goodwill wasn't there for you to play the game.
Yeah.
It would suck.
But at the same time, like, we also talk about not wanting to know everything automatically, you know?
I mean, you don't.
Sure.
They don't allow you to do this until a
wait
few weeks after the boss is out.
Yeah, true.
So that's not even a real thing.
I don't think it should be removed, though. I feel like that's dramatic.
What I think they should do, and this is someone else's suggestion that I saw this week, but I think it's a pretty interesting idea, is because they already have so many collection log type things in the game, is they should consider implementing a type of enemy bestiary, where because like, one, I think going to the wiki for everything is kind of lame.
There's plugins, but you have to, like...
Yeah, which is essentially the same thing. It still reads from the wiki. Where, like, if you're like, oh, you know, I forgot what Cerberus is weak to. I don't always want to alt-tab and, like, go to the website, which, I mean, it's not like it's difficult, but I wish there was a way in-game that's not atrocious to do this. And if they just had a bestiary that showed, like, all of the bosses and Slayer monsters and what they were weak to.
Yeah,
I feel like that would be like very thematic.
I could see being a reward from like Slayer monsters too, like you spend points on it or something.
Yeah, like if you've killed the boss, like even if you've killed an enemy even like once or something, it just like appears like, oh, this mob seems to be weak. It won't give you exact numbers. Maybe it's just like this mob seems to be weak to this.
That's actually kind of cool.
I feel like that would be kind of cool.
People will still use the wiki, but some people will have that because I mean, I've been feeling that with Stardew Valley this week actually too, is that there's a lot of like puzzle things I was trying to figure out for hours, and then I look it up and I'm like, I would have never guessed to do this.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
kind of how a lot of RuneScape stuff is too.
Yeah, like luckily...
I might also just be bad at puzzles.
Luckily, in general, for the most part, you're like, oh, a dragon that's weak to Dragonbane. But also, I wouldn't have guessed that dragons are weak to earth spells.
Throwing mud at them.
Like, that just doesn't make sense to me at all. But, yeah, like, I don't know, having that in game would be interesting.
That would be actually pretty cool.
But, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, moving on to...
Item rebalances.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's the next day?
Hi.
Yeah.
My day at work went a lot better today, by the way. Didn't feel anxious at all.
Yeah, so...
I was 10 minutes late, though.
It is the next day, and we do have, you don't have an update, right?
No.
Okay.
The bingo has begun. All I've done is wilderness agility.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have any updates besides a couple pertaining to stuff that we've already talked about. Not like that they have been updated, but like kind of like what people are talking about. A lot of people are saying that they're really enjoying the mage changes.
Yay!
Yeah.
The weaknesses, elemental weaknesses.
Yeah, the elemental weaknesses. A lot of people are really liking the elemental weaknesses.
That makes me very happy because I know people were like being weird about it.
Yeah, especially. I mean, obviously, I pay a particular attention to like more Iron Man stuff, and so a lot
Yeah.
of people are saying like it's really nice at like dragons. So also maybe check your Slayer task because I know some people block dragons. People have said like, oh, steel tasks aren't actually that bad anymore.
Oh, cool.
Because I mean, you do. I think when it comes to like metallic dragons, I mean, the 50% damage is nice, but like even 50% accuracy is like potentially even nicer.
They're made of steel, so
Uh, yeah,
you
so
need it.
they do have pretty high defenses, so that's a really nice improvement. Besides that, though, there's currently a bug in the game. I think it's still in the game, but Mod Ash confirmed it was a bug, so I figured I would mention it. But currently, people are getting I mean, especially Iron Man, are getting really, really fast kills. Not obscenely fast, okay, not world record or anything like that, but really fast kills using Flames of Zamorak at Zulrah.
Oh, that's so random.
It can hit very hard, pretty close to the damage cap that Zora has, which I think is 50.
Yeah.
It gets really close, but the thing is, none of the god spells were supposed to be affected by this. So
That one just happens to be fire.
yeah, so it has been confirmed by Modash that it's a bug, and so if you use it, then you use it because it's probably gonna be gone soon, if not already.
Yeah, if not by the time this episode's out, at least.
Yeah. But for anyone that is kind of like an early game character, like maybe you're kind of like, shout out to all my broke boys. If you just have like access to kind of basic stuff with like chaos runes, maybe look into they have updated the DPS calculator over on the wiki. I double checked, and they actually added the weaknesses to enemies, so you can check.
Cool.
And you can just look up your character, so it'll automatically plug in your stats. But I was looking, and for me, for example, I'm killing blue dragons for their bones, and if I were to use the cursed scepter, which I already have, then it's a max hit of 19. But if I were to use
The warp scepter.
the warp scepter, not the curse scepter.
In my head, I was thinking, what is that?
Yeah. So if I use that, it's a max hit of 19 with a 95% accuracy, but I actually get 96% accuracy and
Dang.
an even higher max hit of 22 if I use a bolt spell. So if I use water bolt against a dragon, then the max hit I think is 23 if I'm using the chaos gauntlets.
I used to always wear those gauntlets.
Yeah, and for anyone that doesn't know, it costs 2 chaos runes to charge the scepter, whereas it only costs 1 chaos rune to actually use a bolt spell. So stuff like that is really strong, and if you're using wave spells, if you have extra bloods for some reason, then those are really, really strong.
Cool.
So yeah, like that, as well as barrows. I saw a lot of people really talking about how hard they're hitting now.
Yay.
Relative for early game.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
People are happy about it.
Yeah, and the only other thing that we're kind of about to get into, so I thought I would mention it, is people are taking another look at Mage Book, which is good because I farmed the Mage Book knowing it would be good. So some people are wondering if it's like now best in slot Mage offhand.
How sad would it be if it got nerfed right after you grinded it?
I doubt that would be the case. If anything, I think they would buff the Elidness Ward because it's the one
Weird
thing
that
is
that
bad.
wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of people are like even one of
Sorry.
the more popular posts on the subreddit was people asking if Jagex meant to make the Malediction Ward better than the Lidness Ward.
Someone like said something the other day whenever I was streaming too. I was using that and they're like, why aren't you using the Maledictus one? And I was like, oh yeah, it's like better now or something, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna though.
I'll kind of put into reference how good it is. So for anyone wondering, the Elidness Ward is 3% damage, while the Malediction is 2. So obviously it's just straight up better. If it gives you an extra max hit, then maybe just use the Elidness Ward. But that being said, you get a better accuracy bonus from the Malediction Ward.
Really?
And on top of that, you get like plus 50 of each defense from the Malediction Ward and only plus 10 of each of the, or, this is roughly,
Yeah.
plus 10 defense of each of the types from the Elidness Ward.
Wonder if that would be better for my scurrious grinds.
It's way, way higher defenses. Like it's the same as like all of your gear combined in
Well, yeah.
in the shield.
The Vertish gear is not much defense.
Yeah, exactly. So it does make a big difference, and a lot of people are saying the trade-off, honestly, is just better to have the malediction ward.
Weird. I don't think it'd be a bad thing if they made the ward slightly better, though.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
not a lot, though.
the reason people are looking at the mage book is because I think it has the highest accuracy bonus at 2%. Because it gives you 2% damage bonus, and I think 15 mage bonus accuracy, and I think it's the highest you can get in an offhand.
Have you gone back to Blue Dragon since update?
No.
Oh, you gotta try tonight and see how it is.
Well, I've already done the math.
Okay.
I've already did the calculator.
But in action.
So it will be much faster anyways. I don't even know if I have the Chaos Gauntlets. If not, I need to go get them.
I think you did. You were talking about doing it soon, but I don't know if you finished the quest.
I don't think I didn't. I definitely
It's
didn't
Family
do the
Pest.
Family Crest.
Oh, and Pest is the one where you have to pay.
Yeah, I don't think I did it because I needed money. Maybe I'm not sure.
No, this one is free, and then the other one costs money.
Well, okay, so there's
Stop.
one.
Again today, he pulls up the picture of me with my wisdom teeth.
Well, there's one to get one of the gloves, and then the other one gives you all of the gloves.
Yeah, that's the second one.
So, yeah, I think I would need to get all the gloves. So I'm not sure if I did the quest.
Yeah, you probably do want the other
I
ones.
definitely didn't do it this weekend. So if not, then maybe I need to check, and also maybe you should check if you are using bolt spells.
Yeah, go try it out.
But yeah, so I guess that is generally it. Also, yeah, I guess one of the mods did confirm, for anyone wondering, the Hunter crossbow, the new one, the Sunlight crossbow, is a heavy bow, even though it's not listed on any of the things. It uses a bolt.
Yeah,
so it's
just
still heavy.
bolts are heavy.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to mention this yesterday, but I forgot. But the mods doing, or the main mods that are responsible for sailing, actually had a Reddit Ask Me Anything the other day. So
It's kind of cool.
Went up and then was finished within the same day. So, I mean, everyone's late for this, but they do have like questions and answers for anyone wondering. I'm not going to go through them, but you can go over to the subreddit and there's a bunch of like questions and answers. Not a ton, and it's mostly stuff we already knew, but if you like seeing those question and answer type things, they have that.
Cool.
And also Mod Goblin went on an absolute rampage and responded to I think like over like 30 different posts on the update
God.
for what we're about to talk about, which is the rest of the item rebalances.
Wow, respect. If I was any of them, I'd just like log out.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's all the updates that I figured I would mention before we move on to the magic damage redistribution.
Yeah, so after a lot of back and forth, we are satisfied that this set of changes successfully spread out magic progression and make gear upgrades feel more impactful. This is what we've been talking about has it been months now? Or
Yeah.
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 A lot of magic stuff changing. A month at least.
Yeah, at least.
So keep in mind that set pieces for robes refer to helmet, body, and leg slot items. Now here are the changes.
Yeah. So for anyone wondering, like, Mystics has gloves and boots. Those don't count.
Yeah.
Same thing with Infinity Boots. They don't count.
So, Occult Necklace, the magic damage has been reduced from 10% to 5%. Ancestral Robe set pieces, each piece has been increased from 2% to 3%. Vertis set pieces, magic damage per piece increased from 1% to 2%. The Folly items have had their magic damage per piece, I keep feeling like I'm saying that wrong, but I'm saying correct, per piece increased from 0 to 1%, being the Infinity Robes, Dagon High, Third Age, Arams, Blue Moon, Elder Chaos Druid, and Bloodbark.
Yeah, so make sure to keep in mind not Swamp Bark, just Bloodbark.
And also not the gloves and boots on all those.
Yeah. So this will be 3% for all of these sets at max.
Yeah, it won't be like Infinity or is like 5% or whatever.
Yeah, but you can mix and match them. It's not a set bonus, so you can get 2 pieces of Dagon Eye and 1 piece of Infinity, or otherwise.
If that's what you want to do, go for it.
Yeah.
Augury has also been buffed. Magic damage while active increased from 0 to 4%. Tubican Shadow, though, as a note, does not multiply accuracy or damage bonuses gained from prayers, so this would remain a 4% increase rather than 12% when using a shadow. Mystic Might's magic damage while active has been increased from 0 to 2. I'm just gonna say like the names and the increase. Mystic Lore 0 to 1. Eternal Boots 0 to 1. Mage's Book 0 to 2. That actually is such a big increase.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Ancient Wyvern Shield 0 to 2. Malediction 0 to 2. Arcane Spirit Shield 0 to 3. Seers and Seers Ring Imbued 0 to 0.5%. And Elite Void Mage Set bonus. It has been increased from 2.5 to 5% magic damage.
Yeah. For anyone that might also be wondering, people already asked why the Seers Imbued doesn't put it at 1%, and they thought that it might have been too close to the Magus Ring.
I could see that.
So, yeah, that's it. But yeah, so generally, upgrades across the board. Everyone should have gotten some type of damage increase, assuming you're not in max. And this is also assuming you have the Occult Necklace.
Even if you're in max with Occult and Ancestral, so you're losing 5% damage, but you just get nerfed. Huh.
It kind of depends on your setup. So like if you were
I'm thinking my setup Ancestral with Occult.
Yeah, so if you were full Ancestral with, for instance, like a wand and an offhand, then it's an upgrade. But
yeah, the offhands kind of make it lead over.
Yeah, but if you're using a Tumikins, then you didn't get a buff. So, yeah, there's that.
Oh, well.
Also, some people were random. This was kind of a crazy thought to even think, but I guess someone thought it, so I'll mention it.
Okay.
Someone's like, this is in the Ironscape subreddit, and they said, is it worth getting the Slayer level for a Occult Necklace now? Someone mentioned...
Still, yeah.
Someone equated it really well. It's still as good as almost 2 Ancestral robe pieces.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So it's incredibly good.
Still the best in slot Mage Necklace.
For instance, if you
It was just too good.
If you have a full Arams and a Mage Book, that is how good the necklace is.
Nice.
All of those combined.
Yeah, it's worth. I would still go get the Occult.
It is very, very good. Also, what else are you going to put there? Like, I don't know.
A glory.
Yeah, like literally a mage necklace. Like what? They have magic necklaces, I guess. But there have been other adjustments as well, not just mage gear. So there's been some improvements to the Soul Reaper axe. Stacks will no longer be lost instantly upon switching weapons. There's currently a bug where if you teleport with stacks...
I think we mentioned this at the first half, but say it again.
But I've actually since seen that if you get teleported at all, so like if you have stacks and then you teleport away, not just at Sudetseg, you'll still remove stacks and you won't get your health back.
Has that been fixed again?
I don't think so, okay. But yeah, so just be aware of that. If you're on task with this axe and you teleport away, you will lose the stacks.
Okay.
And also the stacks will normally decrement after 20 ticks instead of 12, and
20 ticks after instead of 10. It's 12 seconds.
Oh, yeah. 20 ticks instead of 10. So they doubled it, making it so generally you will have a lot easier time maintaining stacks. And also they'll naturally degrade one at a time. And also they'll heal you as they degrade. So it's honestly just a lot of quality of life stuff for the Soul Reaper axe.
Yeah, as long as you have in your inventory, you'll get healed.
Yeah. Also, this is really, really nice. It's probably one of the biggest changes of all of these changes.
Actually.
And it's the fact that the special attack for the Elder Maul has been added to the game. It also costs 50% of your special attack, has a unique animation. It hits with 25% increased accuracy and reduces target's defense by 35% of the current value on a successful hit. And yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Most importantly, this looks really cool.
It's funny because a lot of people are complaining because now if you are a Chambers enjoyer and haven't gone to it, I will inform you, you now have to bring a hammer.
Oh, I don't even have an Elder Maul. It's fine.
Yeah. Also on top of that.
Yeah, because everyone... No, there's a hammer in the crab's room.
I guess, yeah, if you want to do that. Either way, you have to pick it up at some point. Also, people are now asking if you're able to get into a garage door using this hammer, using the Elder Maul instead of... Because obviously now, not many people are... Well, not many, but less people are using the Dragon Warhammer. So
Well, I think it was Purple Clone tweeted and was like, "Oh, can we use the Elder Maul to like make the chest at Chambers?" And Mata User replied and was like, "You're trying to make a chest, not bash through the walls or something."
the thing is,
It's not technically a hammer.
garage door, you are just breaking down the door, right?
Yeah, so I feel like it makes sense there.
You're just knocking on the door, so it's like you should be able to at garage door. Besides that, though, we have Inquisitor armor has been improved, so now it provides 2.5% accuracy and damage when worn alongside the Inquis mace. For all of you 5 people that own that, they also adjusted the Ancient Godsword special attack. So healing from a successful blood sacrifice now heals for 15% of the target's max HP up to a cap of 25.
Okay.
And lastly, like we already mentioned, the Tome of Fire and Water now got nerfed. Just their damage part got nerfed from 50% down to 10%. So, yeah, there you go. It's unchanged for PvP, by the way.
They still boost damage by 20%, 50 and 20 respectively against players, though.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Why didn't you know that people use them against players? You were talking and I was trying to understand it in my head.
Well, because the water one increases your durations of your curses, I think is what it does. So it's used in PvP.
Niche. All right. Next is some miscellaneous combat adjacent changes. So the Dragon Warhammer now drops at a rate of 1 out of 3k, up from 1 out of 5,000. As an iron, do you still think it's worth getting? Because the Elder Maul is a mega rare.
Yeah. I think it's still worth getting.
I don't know, because people are acting like they're never going to use a Dragon Warhammer again.
Even if it was 1 out of 5,000, it would probably still worth be getting.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah.
Minimum hit has been adjusted. Now if you pass an accuracy check, any damage rolls of 0 are boosted up to 1. So if your max hits 3, you can roll 1, 1, 2, or 3 for damage. Note that you're still able to guarantee zeros via splashing and failing every accuracy check. They added a Cursed Amulet of Magic drop at a rate of 1 out of 5 from the Necromancer south of Shazian. This amulet provides a negative 80% magic damage, useful for some niche scenarios where you might want to keep your damage numbers as low as possible.
Yeah, people are wondering
That's
why
splashing,
this.
Right?
No, because splashing you actually deal 0 damage, so you don't need to deal less damage.
Oh, okay.
So it's funny because one thing is someone was able to amplify this damage using Tumakin Shadow, and they were able to get negative 270 damage or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
But anyways, this is used by members of the low HP community to lower the health of an enemy via their main account, which previously they would do with things like Airstrike, which is a single damage. Mm-hmm. But now the fact that Airstrike would be the same thing as a Fire Strike, which is much more than 1 damage, they need this in order to still allow strategies that deal 1 damage on your main and you to finish it off on your second account.
Gotcha.
So that's why this is in the game.
That makes sense. They reduced the prayer drain rate for Thick Skin, Burst of Strength, and Clarity of Thoughts. I guess it looked at those. Yeah, there's more. Sharp Eye, Animistic Will from 5 to 1.67 points per minute. Effectively, they should drain a third of the speed they used to. Yeah, I remember being like 20 prayer and trying to use something and being like, oh, it's gone. Okay.
Yeah, it sucked.
Sharp Eye and Burst of Strength now boost your range and strength by 1 level respectively if those levels are lower than 20. Note that this only applies when calculating your max hit, so you won't notice a visible stat boost or anything to that effect, though. Attacking an NPC with autocast enabled no longer incurs an extra 0.6 second delay. It's been requested for ages. All that's left now is to figure out what you're going to do with all the extra time you have. I don't understand how that was ever even a thing, really.
You know what's really ironic is the other things that are kind of more annoying than this are still in the game.
What's more annoying than that?
The fact that if you get your level reduced at all, it still resets your autocast for any spell book, not just standard. And also, you need to reselect the spell, and it happens still.
Yeah.
Which I don't know about you, but it's like
it is
arguably just as annoying as this.
Well, maybe they'll fix that next. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Attacking the Path of Ambican, they've increased hit points of style-specific enemies inside the monkey puzzle room, although they'll always take maximum damage from their opposing style. Note that each of these has a weak and strong variant, hence the 2 values of hit point. So the Baboon Brawlers, the 25 and 30 hit point variants, will always max hit with magic, throwers, always max hit by melee. Mage, always max hit by range. None of the enemies in Path of Ambition will scale with raid levels or group size, so the hit point values you see here should be consistent in every single TOA run. Sorry, I didn't say all the hit points. Now I feel like maybe I should have, but we're already past it. This also applies to NPCs not listed above, like Volatile, Baboons, Cursed, and Baboon Shamans, though you won't be guaranteed max hits against these.
Yeah, some people were saying that although sometimes, because you're not guaranteed max hits, it may sometimes take 2 hits. That being said, the vast majority of feedback I've seen on this is that it is immensely better.
Yeah, well, before it was like you weren't guaranteed max hits, even if you switched your gear. So if you were sending like a lower level Invo one, you just camped Mage. You're like, there's no point of changing. It's not like I'm going to max hit it.
Yeah,
some people. There's a use now.
Yeah, people are saying that even in like 500s, this is like noticeably really, really good.
That's really good. Baba has had her through pair damage reduced from 33% to 25% if she hits you while you're protecting from melee. They also improved Fasani Nightmare drop rates. So any specific piece of Inquisitor now drops at 1 out of 700. It used to be 1 out of 1k. Any specific orb now drops out of 1 out of 1600, up from 1 out of 3000. The Inquisitor Mace now drops at a rate out of 1 out of 1250, up from 1 out of 200. Sorry, 1 out of 2000. That's not that big of a one compared to the rest. And the Nightmare Staff now drops at a rate of 1 out of 533, up from 1 out of 666. Unfortunate, because I was like, well, that's boring. This is unfortunate because it was kind of cool to see.
Yeah. The Nightmare of Fasani has also had their drop rates improved.
This is a regular Nightmare.
Improved that. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was reading the other one. So, Fasani and regular Nightmare have both had their drop rates improved, which is funny because for anyone that missed it, you can still complete all of Chambers of Xeric and have done it faster than completing any of Fasani's or Nightmares.
I don't think it's possible to finish Chambers of Xeric. You can't trick me.
Oh, okay. But yeah, imagine all the time you spent at Chambers, but at Nightmare and still got less.
Ew.
Yeah.
I got kind of spooned at Chambers, I think.
But yeah, so that is pretty much it. Also, Ava's device will now apply the ammo saving effects to javelins, so that's kind of interesting.
I hate that they put like small things like that after bigger ones. And she's like, and the end.
Yeah.
That's all from Project Rebalance for now, you guys.
No, it's not.
Well, okay, there's some other small changes, but they're not Project Rebalance.
These are the biggest changes.
We'll see.
No, not really. So we have some very, very slight other changes. So the spell table lecterns in the POHs now remember the position of your scroll bar, making it a little bit easier. The Genie random event has stopped referring to everyone as Master and will use Mistress when it is appropriate. Also, the Varlamorian Master and Elite Clues stash units now properly appear filled in the stash notice board. And lastly, everyone saw this post if you go on Reddit at all. So the Blood Moon's Jaguar's HP sap no longer persists through teleports. While this technically cannot kill you, a particularly harrowing hardcore Iron Man scare convinced us it was worth
Can it not
fixing.
kill you? Or I guess
No.
it's when you're telling.
No, whenever... So what they're talking about is whenever it turns to Jaguar phase, you get hit.
Mm-hmm. You can actually die that?
You can't die to that. It brings you to 1.
I did not know that. I've gotten close.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and there's also a board game competition, and RuneScape Kingdoms is shortlisted for it if you guys want to vote for that. I didn't play it, so I know nothing. And the PP Arena is using Zerker loadouts.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Overall, like, kind of big things going on, but I'm doing the bingo, so I can't really try anything out yet.
Sure.
I don't know.
Whatever.
And I didn't really
say.
notice much of a change at Scurrius, to be honest.
Why would you?
Because I'm using Virtus.
They didn't buff Virtus, but
They did.
Yeah, it's 3% additive.
I thought I would notice.
I was like, I don't even know if that's an extra max hit for you.
I don't know. It wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be, but apparently everyone else is happy, so I'll take it.
Okay.
We do have some questions though for our Q&A that we have not read yet, so let's see how this is. Harger asked, "What is the worst physical pain you've ever been in?" By the way, yes, I'm okay. Just minorly sick and thought about pain for some reason. Also, yeah, Harger did answer this before. I don't know if we want to read the past answer or not.
No, I'm good.
Okay, yeah, he said it's okay. Now I feel like maybe we've answered this before, but now I could probably say, like, after my wisdom teeth, I was, like, hurting, or, like, maybe one of my tattoos. Okay, I have, like, a snapdragon flower on, like, the back of my calf. Is that where this would be?
Yeah,
The back
I
of
guess
my
so.
ankle, but it's, like, lower, like, kind of next to my ankle. That one, it was, like, pretty bad getting it done, but whatever. Whenever I went to get touched up, it felt like a scalpel just dragging along my leg. So I'll say that. How about you?
Yeah, I guess I would have to say the same thing. I've never been like injured severely, so I've had like regular cuts and stuff like that, but nothing that was really too painful. It's funny because like I have almost died a couple times, but they weren't painful. So
When? How?
I've almost drowned a couple times. I told you like a million times.
Oh, like out in the ocean.
No, one was in a pool and one was in an ocean.
Ooh.
But yeah, I guess my tattoo would be the most. I mean, it's like right here on my arm, but
The elbow one. Oh, the one next to your armpit was like pretty bad. Whenever he'd come home, it'd be like yellow bruised and like bloody.
yeah, the thing is, it's like for anyone that hasn't got a tattoo, it's like a enduring pain. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, as far in my experience, and I have a pretty big tattoo, is like none of it in particular hurts so much, but it's like kind of the sustained buildup of pain.
Yeah. I had like a couple that I thought I was going to have to tap out, but I didn't end up having to tap out. But it is more so that, like, at first, sometimes you'll even feel fine, but then you're like 3 hours into a session, you're like, okay, now I'm not fine. Like, I
Yeah,
don't ever want to do a session more than like 2.5 hours ever again.
yeah,
Over it.
all of my sessions were 4 or 5 hours, and I never once was like, oh, I don't think I could do this, but
Your body gives up a little
was
bit.
my body was like, yo, you are getting cut up because like I think this happens to a lot of people is like what happens is I started getting like cold sweats
Mm-hmm. It's
and
like your body goes into shock, right?
yeah, your body's like trying to deal with like a ton of trauma at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
Especially for you, because yours is so expansive. It's just trauma all over your arm.
yeah,
Mine are more small, at
it
least.
definitely doesn't hurt. I have heard of spots that actually hurt, like your hands and your armpits and stuff like that, but none of my spots I was like actually like, oh, I don't think I can
It
do
hurt, but you
this.
didn't almost tap out.
No, not even really close.
Mm-hmm.
But
Weirdly, I had like one
yeah,
of my smallest tattoos was one of the ones that I thought I was gonna have to tap out because it was the thin skin on the side of your ankle, like right above your foot. That was like, it was only like 10 minutes to get it done. And I was like, I want to stop. Also, I don't even understand how that took 10 minutes.
yeah.
And it got kind of blown out, so be careful in that location.
It's funny.
It looks fine, but
I was just thinking maybe the worst pain I ever felt is like pain that I don't remember because I like very if this didn't happen to me, I wouldn't have believed it happened because like the only way I remember it is because I like have like the briefest memory of it and then everyone tells me this happened.
what happened?
Is one time I was knocked out at school. Like I was literally knocked out at school. I don't know what I even did to this person. I don't even remember who it was, why it happened, or anything like that. But it was like the 5th grade, and someone punched me in the nose, and like I didn't remember what happened, and I had like 2 black eyes.
Oh my
That
god, I want to go beat them up. I'll bleep it out. That was just my reaction. Who does that?
I don't remember. I literally don't
I
remember
forgot you. I
anything
think you've
about
told me
it.
about that, but I don't. I forgot about it.
Yeah, I literally remember nothing about it, but maybe that hurt and sucked,
I
but I
mean,
don't
probably.
remember.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that's sad. Okay. Another in real life question from Matt on Discord. What would you do if OSRS was suddenly discontinued, but they gave you a 1 month warning? Like, what would you do in RuneScape for the last month, and what would you do after the game is no longer existent? By the way, assume RuneScape 3 is also gone. I don't think I'd want to play the last month. I think I would just like that would make me annoyed.
Um, yeah, I wouldn't play
Or maybe
anymore.
I'd do some raids, but I feel like I'd just be like, whatever, I'm done, and maybe like regret it later. But
Yeah, I wouldn't play anymore because I mean, there's obviously no point. But
yeah, I guess that too.
I would stay logged in if possible at the very last second just to see if it was like an isekai and I got taken into the RuneScape world.
Oh my god.
Like, you know, all the animes, but if that didn't happen, then that would, you know, whatever, that would be the end of it. I don't know if I'd move on to another game.
I don't know if there's any games I'd be as into RuneScape as I am with RuneScape. Like BG3, I'm super into. Stardom, super into. But those ones aren't forever games in the way that RuneScape's a forever game, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably eventually I'd find another game, but maybe I'd just play more casual games. Maybe I wouldn't become as addicted to something, you know?
Yeah, I'd probably play like World of Warcraft again, but like more casually.
Yeah, I think I would honestly try to not be as obsessive as I have been with RuneScape.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely would stop playing though.
Yeah, I don't think I'd do the last month. I feel like I'd just be over it because then it's like, what are you working for anymore?
Yeah, there's literally no point. So.
Yeah, but that's it for the Q&A.
That's it. So
usually you start this little spiel, so I'm like, I don't remember where we go from here.
Yeah, so that's it. So thanks again for listening. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, you can check out some of our socials and get in touch with us, ask us questions as well, and maybe you can be included in next week's podcast.
Yeah, our TikTok and Twitter are Bunebapeosrs. Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram are all just Bunebape. I stream 4 days a week right now on twitch.tv/Bunebape, but this job is going to later be part-time, so I'll probably go back to 5 days a week.
5 weeks a day.
So join our Discord so you can stay updated on that.
Yep, so that's going to be about it. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you all
very soon. Bye-bye.